Yeah. Welcome back, everybody, to Friday Evening Trains. It is Friday. The sun is setting. And so that means it is time for some trains. Nice to be at the end of the week. It was a busy week. A lot of stuff at work all kind of happened to line up this week, so definitely ready to relax and take a load off. So we are starting as always tonight on the English side of the pond on the East Coast Main Line, London to Peterborough route. We are driving an icy livery, intercity livery class 91, and we are playing We're Getting There. You have a simple task today. Take a London-bound Class 91 set to King's Cross with a call at Stevenage on the way. In terms of TS news, not a whole lot going on. It was announced that a Mariah's Pass scenario pack is in the works, as well as the release of the New Zealand JA class steam locomotive. So if New Zealand trains are your thing, give that a check. If you want further information, there is ooh, that's cool. There is a excellent article in one of the early 1970 Good Morning Driver. Should be an easy one today. Open the doors here. Departure time is 8:31. In one of the 1970s issues of Trains magazines that actually talks about the J-Class steam locomotives in New Zealand. Although I believe it mainly focuses on the ones that operate on the South Island. I believe, if I remember the article correctly, that the JA class actually operated on the North Island. And then there's some subtle differences between the two, but yeah. Let's see, I don't think there's anything else big going on. I don't check Facebook very routinely anymore. Let's see. Oh, nope, nothing new on DTM. Let's see what Larias Games is up to. They are actually making a route. Doesn't look like they've made any kind of official announcement yet as to what it is. All I know for sure is that the Pioneer operates on the route. Oops. Post. Good. Next up is Stevenage. Arrival time is 9:03 and a half. Yes, thank you, Jessica, for the reminder. Yes, happy Conrail Day. Conrail would have turned 46 today. Being formed on this date in 1976. Searchlight. I just saw Searchlight Simulations had a pretty good one where they said they were going to stop working on their SD40-2 and AC44 projects and instead focus on modeling every locomotive and piece of rolling stock ever operated by the Pennsylvania Railroad. So That was a pretty good one. Speed limit is 25. On the right are the Neen carriage sightings. Plenty of Network Southeast livery class 365s hanging out. Speed limit is up to 105. Is there no speed control knob on Oh, you just directly control it. What the hell? Alright, forget it. There, actually the control works on this just a little bit better. Good thing. Since there's not enough routes to run them, and I would prefer them to the best second and third generation diesel units. Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely a fun. Although the Pennsylvania did have plenty of second generation diesel units, so certainly not outside the realm of possibility, but yeah. If I remember correctly, most modern thinking is the first generation is the units that replace steam. The second generation are the ones that replace those, so that'd be your SD40s, GP40s, SD45s, that kind of thing. SD35s. U-boats. That sort of thing. Third generation is microprocessors, which would be your early 1980s, so your SD50s, your SD60s, your Dash 7s, and your early Dash 8s. From then, I believe fourth generation would be AC traction, so that would be your SD70 Max, SD80 Max, AC44s, AC6000s, that kind of thing. Which would then put the fifth generation being GEVOs. So post-GEVO would be, I guess, the sixth generation. By that logic. Type rundown. Was I meant to take notes? Perhaps. The name of the scenario is also, of course, a reference to the intercity slogan of the early 90s. Yeah. Yeah, we have. Crazy to think. And not even 100 years. Depending on when you want to officially call the birth of the diesel in America, but it was definitely sometime in the 30s. Either if you want to call it the we're trying, leave us alone, please. Yeah, I know. That's always what it sounded like to me too. Whenever I see old inner city ads on YouTube, and it's just, we're getting there. Even the way he says it is just like, please, we're trying. Anyway, the birth of the diesel in America, whether or not you want to call it the N10000 or the Burlington Zephyr or even the Central of New Jersey 1000. Um, but I think that was even the late 20s. Yeah, for sure, for sure. What's crazy is you're starting to see even third and fourth generation locomotives start getting into preservation. The Illinois Railway Museum has a B40-8, I want to say, in its collection, which is absolutely crazy. Oh, oops. Oh wait, I'm looking at the speedometer, not the stupid Mm-hmm. Even without the diesel, I think eventually you would have seen wide-scale electrification, just because anything would have been more efficient than steam. Anything that gives you the ability to run units in multiple without needing multiple crews. Anything that doesn't rely on an expensive combination of coal and water. Got a double yellow. Especially, like, Santa Fe in the desert always had the worst time supplying its locomotives with water because, you know, it's a desert. So especially if you're talking about like the shocking as it seems. Yes. But yeah, New Mexico, Arizona, the Needles subdivision, the Mojave subdivision, but yeah. So they were always going to be looking for something. I think actually it was, it wasn't called the, oh my god, I can't think of the name of it. Needles to Winslow. What is the name of that subdivision? It's not the Williams subdivision, is it? I feel like... That's the Lakeman subdivision. Jesus. Hello, driver. The signal protecting the points at Huntington has failed. You'll need to request permission. Press tab to pass it. The Seligman subdivision. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Was the first... it wasn't the Seligman subdivision at the time, I don't think. But it was the first division of the Santa Fe to be completely dieselized. With the introduction of the FT. Yeah, maybe steam could have lasted longer if costs were so high in the 50s. Steam wouldn't last forever. It was the right time. Just looking at the right time to get roads like Santa Fe off the clunky, smoky lease. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only reason the Norfolk and Western kept steam as long as it did was because it had pretty much an endless supply right there in the heart of its operating territory. And it was sufficiently self-sufficient to build its own steam locomotive designs until even they couldn't deny the cost savings from diesel. Yes, and that's why you really saw the death of the B unit, was because the unions finally agreed that each locomotive cab wouldn't require its own crew, and so um, other than a few roads that continuing to use them, notably the Union Pacific and the Santa Fe, would continue to use B units off and on up through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But other than that, you really saw, especially once the era of covered wagons ended, you really saw the B unit fall out of favor. But it's kind of interesting to imagine an alternate timeline where the unions decided to force the issue and demand a full crew in each cab. You know, like imagine like a B unit GEVO. And I mean, that's just in the US. Trying to retain mainline steam, I think into the 2000s. I know Mongolia retained steam up through I think the 70s. And as we know, Britain obviously did away with the steam locomotive in the late 60s in a way that was totally efficient, not at all wasteful, and was a complete success and didn't result in a bunch of one-off locomotive designs that were terrible and unreliable and kind of clogged the network with a bunch of crap nobody could actually use. Alright, I think this is the offending signal. Indeed it is. We are cleared. Violently coughs NBL. I don't know what you mean, Code Monkey. The Class 28 was iconic. Yeah, basically the modernization plan resulted in the government basically like going up to any old man on the street being like, "Hey, you've got a locomotive design? And you can like build it? Here, build us 20 and we'll see how they go." And lo and behold, the guy you gave, a bunch of money to build a bunch of locomotives in his back shed couldn't actually make a very good locomotive. Yes, you are correct, Jessica. The Class 28 was the inspiration for Boko, even though it was a Kobo. I'm glad you love it, Twix. Right, wasn't... Pretty sure Boko was, because that's the point, is that he's a Boko. Oh, no, I guess he was a Kobo. Huh. But obviously, Boko floats a lot better than Kobo does. I suppose that's fair. Boko was the only one that did have a face. No. No, Twix. No. No. Just no. No, a Boko is, is British, railroad terms for a locomotive which has, one truck that has 2 axles, and then the other truck has 3 axles. In American railroad terminology, that would be a BC wheel arrangement. If I remember correctly, the Class 31 was an A1A, wasn't it? SDGP. Oh, yeah. Which in A1A would be an unpowered axle in the middle of 2 powered axles on one truck. A1A would also be an E unit. But yes, NES 44 C4. I'm trying to think. I think the FL9s were B A1As. How long is a bit ago, Twix? I don't think so. Oh, the what happened to this peanut butter thing? No, I didn't watch that. No. No, we cannot. That's what I thought. Thank you, Jessica. I'm gonna look up the Class 31 now, because I could have sworn that's what it was. Yep, they were A1As. Okay. Yes, Code Monkey, 6 axle, but I'm not sure what the question is in reference to. No, Twix, I don't want you posting your weird shit in my chat. Class 37s, I believe, were Cocos. Which is why those little bastards could pull. Oh! Yes! 6 wheels. Yep. I see the confusion. Yeah, no, two axle truck up front, three axle truck in the rear with the middle axle being unpowered. Six axle would be incredibly impractical. I don't think that would be able to go around most curves. Be way too rigid. No, the worst we ever got over here was a 4-axle truck on the DD35s and DD40 AXs. I don't think anything else. Oh, well, there were a few electrics that had. Pretty much. A lot of the electrics had 4 wheels. 4-wheel trucks, but I don't believe 8 total axles, Jessica, not on one truck. Well, actually, wait, didn't the Class 40 have 4-axle trucks? Wasn't there like a 1D D1 or something? Oh no, it was a 1 Coco 1. Alright, never mind. It's kind of hard to figure out. You just look under it and it just has a shit ton of wheels and you just kind of glaze over. Jack shafts. I don't know what those are. PRR 3931. Oh, you mean side rods? There was a class of Norfolk and Western Electric that also had side rods. Kind of ugly things. But most early American electrics were pretty ugly. Yes, the 08, the 09. Actually, I believe all of... Well, not all of. I think most of the... Certainly anything under 10, I believe, had side rods. All of those switchers. Oh, wait, no, because the 13 and 14 had them. Did the 15? I don't think the 16 did. Oh, no, the 15 did not have side rods. Whoops. 16. Yeah. Yep, so it looks like everything up through 14 had side rods. No idea. Maybe it was just to, you know, handhold steam locomotive engineers through the transition. If it had side rods, you know, at least kind of looked like a steam locomotive, and maybe that just made them feel better. Yeah, no, the GG1s were definitely good looking. The EP4s, I think were good looking, as were the EP5s. I always liked those. forget what the big hulking things Great Northern had, but I mean, as big as they were, they also looked pretty cool. Shame both of those got scrapped. Oddly enough, none of Milwaukee's electrics were ever that graceful looking. I mean, the big box cabs look nice. But I mean, those weren't passenger units. But like the bipolars were pretty hulking, ugly things. The little Joes didn't look that good. I guess that's it for Milwaukee Electric Power. And for the elements, taking control of the G's would have lasted indefinitely because reliability was still good into the 70s. Yeah, those things were freaking tanks. Well, I mean, New Jersey Transit was using them up through the end of the 80s until they started getting their own power delivered. E60s, another batch of locomotives that didn't look that good. For some reason, most of the design of American electric locomotives were, let's take a box, slap some wheels under it, and slap a pantograph on top of it and call it good. Let's see, was that Hitchin? Yep. So we were just joined by the line from Cambridge, just north of Hitchin there. Yeah, the AEM -7 was good. Again, a box with wheels and a pantograph, but at least that one was a foreign design, so. I would love to see, yeah, the HHP. I would like to see the Milwaukee Electric come to Train Simulator. That'd be sweet. Get a box cab and a little Joe. Let's see, we are coming up on our stop at Stevenage. Do I have plans to wreck one? A little Joe? I don't think so. Not intentionally, anyway. Coming in just a little hot. Ooh, from Chicago all the way to Green Bay. But we got something to back up if we need. We're gonna need. Oh, maybe. Yep. See, but why do that when you could do the overland route and do Chicago to Clinton? Oh, you know what? I probably missed a DSD. Stupid thing. Employees bought the railroad in the 70s. Yeah, I think that's about the time it went employee owned. I think once it became obvious it wasn't going to be bailed out in any kind of merger. Because there were several different plans. I think the main one was going to be a Milwaukee, Chicago Northwestern, and Rock Island merger. That would have just created one super Granger in the Midwest. I'm interested to see which of the three Chicago to Omaha routes would have been kept. If C&W opted into Conrail, I feel like it would have been rather pointless. Like, the C&W didn't really go anywhere that would have been advantageous. Like nobody would have had any use for like a New York to Minneapolis intermodal train. And C&W's route into like Kansas City was pretty convoluted. And plus that would have left a weird island between St. Louis and Kansas City. That there wouldn't have been any direct connection with. Rock Island's kind of the same way. I guess at least you would have had a route down into like Texas. But even then, I don't remember if the Rock even went to like St. Louis. I think it just went to Kansas City. So again, you're left with this weird island that doesn't even save you anything en route because anything that wants to go south still has to go through Chicago and Kansas City. Good. Next stop is King's Cross. Arrival time is 9:26. The only thing that would have made sense is if like Milwaukee joined Conrail, because then you would have had a full transcontinental route. But I don't know that even merger could have saved the Pacific Extension. It didn't have the traffic base. Northern Pacific and Great Northern had kind of scooped that all up. At the time, though, I don't know that New York to Seattle would have been enough. It would also help if I paid attention. Also, are you suggesting I overshoot stations quite a bit, Toad Monkey? I mean, you'd be right. I mean, it would help if I, played routes more often, because then I'd get an idea of braking distances, but I don't, so I kind of just guess. Or are you just speaking in general terms? At a 313. Yeah, so I had this scenario idea kicking around for quite a while. But I wanted to wait until I finally picked up the AP 313 on Steam. in the Network Southeast Marketplace livery to play it. See, I don't know that Northern Pacific would have done, or BN would have done that, though, because, I mean, there are bits and pieces of Northern Pacific that make up the Northern Transcon. Obviously, the vast majority of it is former Great Northern, but I believe the Staples subdivision, which is the line from the Twin Cities to Grand Forks, North Dakota, I believe it is. Or no, is it Fargo? Might be Fargo. Shoot. Google Maps. Oh no, yeah, it's Fargo. Grand Forks is the one that's more north of it. Wait, then yeah. Oh wait, no, yeah, it's Fargo. Never mind. That's all former Northern Pacific. And then, well, it's easy to stop at Carlisle or Peterborough because the speaking signal calls into it. Stevenage, you got nothing. Yeah, I know. And the problem is you're coming at it on the main line at 125. So, it's kind of a similar situation with Didcot. Yeah, Conrail and Santa Fe would have been awesome because, especially if you'd have gotten the Santa Fe management philosophy, because there's an article that I think ran in 1996 in Trains where basically Santa Fe had basically gotten its Chicago to Los Angeles schedule down to like 45 hours, I think, for its intermodal trains. And they were pretty confident that they could maybe squeeze another hour out of it at best. This was to get like 3-day service from, or 4-day service. No, yeah, 3-day service from New York to Los Angeles. And basically it was saying Santa Fe management was saying, yeah, we've got it about as good as we're going to get it. Anything else needs to come out of Conrail's schedule. And so I imagine a Conrail-Santa Fe merger would have brought a lot of that management philosophy, and they would have found ways to squeeze those extra few hours. Oh, Chippenham. 125 into nowhere. Yeah. Yeah, because at least, well, if you're on the up direction, Swindon you have to turn off. But I guess coming into Swindon on the down main, you at least have like all the yards. Welland Garden City and carriage sidings are on the right. You have like the passing loops and all the yards coming into Swindon there. So that's kind of an obvious indication. Well, at least in the down direction for Stevenage, you have Wilmer Green Junction and then Nebworth to kind of give you an idea that you're getting close. Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just never. The only thing I can think of is that it didn't offer any obvious bypassing Chicago alternatives. Although I think Santa Fe did make a play for the Gateway Western, which ran between St. Louis and Kansas City. I believe Kansas City Southern eventually took that over. I don't think Conrail BNSF would have happened because after the Conrail split. Well, I guess there's no Conrail split then. Were they in competition for the same traffic? Conrail and Santa Fe? No. Santa Fe was a Western railroad. Conrail was an Eastern railroad. They didn't overlap anywhere except for in Chicago. Yeah, Conrail and BNSF would have been interesting. But again, well, that kind of... It doesn't offer really anything for bypassing Chicago for northern traffic because, you know, because at least, like, an Elkhart to Kansas City or whatever, you could route through St. Louis. Bit of St. Louis resulting in CR using jacket choice over the Santa Fe. The TP and W. Ooh. That would have required, I think, a lot of upgrading. I mean, because that's always been a short line. Didn't Santa Fe cast the TPW off in, like, the 90s? Or not the 90s. Like, the 80s, I thought. I mean, it still could be. But again, it would take a lot of... investment. I don't think... I mean, because it's been a short line for so long. You'd have to invest some major capital in that. And I don't know that anyone's willing to do that. Because you need to upgrade the track minimum. This branch in Lanarkshire, built by a different Caledonia, which connected to the GNSW. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so you need to absolutely upgrade the track. You'd probably need to double track quite a bit of it. Shoot, what did we pass? Oh man, past the freight. Starting to go to the strongest rates and ripped it up. That's funny. Well, I take it back. You wouldn't necessarily... You definitely would probably need to extend some passing sightings. It would need probably PTC and CTC. Because I don't think it's signaled. Other than, like, obviously anywhere it crosses an existing railroad. So, like, obviously it's signaled at the crossing with the UP Villa Grove subdivision. HST hype. Speaking of a bypass for Chicago, there was that proposal recently that would have created a super railroad right around Chicago. That would have been basic. That would have required every railroad to pitch in, and so obviously there was no hope. But basically, it would make a big loop around northwest Illinois into, I believe, northeast Illinois, into northwest Indiana. I think that Class 91 set was backwards, but and it connected every major rail route in and out of Chicago. So it would have connected the Geneva subdivision, the Aurora, UP Geneva subdivision, the BNSF Aurora subdivision, the BNSF Mendota subdivision, the Canadian National Freeport subdivision, the BNSF Chillicothe subdivision, the Villa Grove subdivision, the CSX Bar subdivision, and the Norfolk Southern Chicago District and Chicago Line. I would have had the ability that would have basically allowed traffic to stay out of downtown Chicago, for the purposes of interchange. So you could, say like BNSF's Galesburg to Elkhart Manifest, instead of having to go through downtown Chicago to get to the Norfolk Southern, it would get on this railroad somewhere on the Mendota subdivision. I think actually near Mendota, the town of Mendota. And then it would have gotten off on the Chicago line, wherever in Indiana. So it's quite the idea. A Conrail Union Pacific merger? That I think could have worked, because then you'd have the former Missouri Pacific. I'm gonna knock off the speed control. Conrail and British Rail. That was only getting built if Chicago paid for it. No, it was only getting built if every railroad that served Chicago agreed to it and agreed to help pay for it. So it was never going to happen. But yeah, because then you'd have a good Chicago bypass from St. Louis, around St. Louis and Kansas City. That would have gone about as well as Penn Central did. A Conrail British Rail merger. No, I think there's definite potential in a Conrail Union Pacific merger. Conrail could buy a bunch of E&D logos and squeeze them into a weird loading gauge. Isn't that what BR already did? With the Class 59? Okay, it looks like we should be cleared into King's Cross. We'll see what this signal says. Yep, so we should be cleared. Pretend HS1 isn't there. This is the 90s. It hasn't been built yet. Yep. We're cleared into platform 2. Coming in a little hot again. Ooh, the frames are not happy. Help if I took the brakes off. I don't remember offhand what the other set is called. Code Monkey. You could refresh my memory. But yeah, obviously Gasworks tunnels makes sense. Oh, that's right, the Copenhagen tunnels. As an homage to the Danish rule of Britain in the Middle Ages? I like how it's platform 0. Whoop. Excellent work, driver. Meet you in the break room. Scenario complete. So that was We're Getting There. Nice little run. Yeah. So we'll switch it on over. All right, so because I haven't gotten enough of Soldier Summit over the last couple of weeks, with the making of the big one, that's what we're going to be running now. Um, anyway, so we are going to be running an older one, but a good one. Competition. So this is for the original Soldier Summit route, from Provo to Helper, not the Salt Lake City extension. I believe this was actually made before the Salt Lake City extension came out. Which should tell you how old it is. Yeah. The Rio Grande was always in competition for Union Pacific between Salt Lake and Denver. UP naturally had the advantage with connections to its own larger network. However, by running short, fast freights and working with partners such as BN and SP, the Rio Grande managed to hold on for over 100 years. You were in charge of one of these fast freights on a pleasant fall day in 1984. You have momentarily stopped at the Provo depot to drop off some paperwork and will soon be on your way. You have a pair of DNRGW SD40T-2s to power your train, as well as a pair on the back that will be removed at the summit. March 28th. I thought it said April 4th on Steam. Oh, yeah, nope. Okay. Utah Division Dispatch, this is DNRGW 5398 East. We have dropped off the paperwork and are ready to depart eastbound. Over. DNRGW 5398 East, this is Dispatch. Due to an inbound UP freight, you will proceed east via Track 1 until Rings Creek. Rayleigh will cross over to Main 2. You will remain there until Summit, where your helpers will be cut off. Over. Let's see. Looks like we have the signal. Huh. Only 2 tracks modeled, even though there are 3 in the Salt Lake City extension. That's interesting. Terrible EMD sounds for the win. Oh yeah, let that horn curdle your blood. I forgot to use the BN wagon pack. Got some hills around here. Yeah, just a couple. But now that all BNSF licensed content is available again on Steam around the world, that's not a problem anymore. Plenty of stuff here in the yard. we got a yellow. A lot going on in the yard here. Ooh. Thank you for the update, or not the update, the heads up there, Code Monkey. We're getting there even if we have to break the train. You know, though, Jessica, if we break the train, we are most certainly not getting there. Oh, that's fun. Ooh. Alright, good. We have a green. We can do a little bit of rail fanning here. Get an idea of the makeup of our train. Yeah. At least Searchlight Simulations made the 710G, the GEVO, and the 7FDL sound upgrades free, but that doesn't help for the vast majority of 645 units in the game. But yeah, I really wish DTG would do a sound update. Cool. Oh, hello. That is a very good question, Jessica. Speed dropped a little more than I had intended. Turns on a dime too. Yeah, I noticed that. Quite possibly. God, that horn is really annoying. Luckily, once we get out of the Provo area here, we won't have to hear it as much. With the telephone and billy club. Ah, so the American way. Isn't there a gyro light control? Ooh, we can't have number lights. Should be right on top here. I know these had a gyro light. Windscreen wipers, front headlights, rear headlights. Sander. No gyro light? Ah, there we go. The J key. I think it's a little fast to be accurate. From a distance, it's almost real. Unfortunately, the units aren't quite as grimy as they would be in real life, so it doesn't quite paint the perfect picture. Yeah, or certain illicit substances, but I wouldn't know anything about that. was not on another crossing on the other side of this one. It just felt right to keep it going. Mm-hmm. Especially with the amount of tunnels the Rio Grande had. Yeah, it is. And I know part of it is that it's hard to get licenses if everything's clean and if everything, you know, is super grimy, because obviously railroads don't want their stuff represented like that. Even if it's true to life, so. Yeah. Pretty much, Jessica. So I mean, I get it, which is why I think it's a fair compromise that like a lot of stuff comes with like dirty and weathered versions, or clean and weathered versions. But I just wish that was more things. And I mean, that's not just a DTG issue, because like the DTM GP30 is like neon yellow. Yeah, that's kind of the nice thing too, about like the Victory Works G2 Super D, because that comes with like a like, you know, nice and clean versions, but also like grimy, rusty, crappy ones. Same with the BMG 8F. Um, yeah, that's a good point. Just I don't know if the smoke box one comes with a weathered version. But if anyone did, I would suspect it'd be that one. Yeah, they do. Just about Code Monkey. I mean, I'm quite happy at my current job, but I can consult on weekends. I mean, I get why the older sounds aren't the best because you know, they were a small company, they were British, so they didn't necessarily have the ability to fly over to the US and, you know, get accurate sounds, but the fact that it's been 13 years and we're still living with the same SD40 sounds is pretty inexcusable. I mean, there are plenty of preserved, or even still working, SD40s, that they could get, sounds from. Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, I think that was at the rail yard's point on his Pacific Surfliner review, was that the headlights on the F-59 just washed everything out. Yeah, no, SES is a fantastic developer. I think they're even reworking California again for ATS. Or Urban Games with Transport Fever 2 is, you know, they just announced the release date for their next major update for that game, which is pretty awesome. They're coming up with a couple of different new things, and I'm sure there's going to be some patchwork. I mean, some other stuff they haven't, you know, it's very light on details, so I'm sure when the patch notes come out, there'll be more specific stuff, but I think part of the problem too is, and this is kind of exemplified by the Class 700, is that I don't think DTG has a lot of manpower assigned to TS1, since TS2 kind of kicked into high gear, and so, you know, a lot of stuff they might want to do kind of gets pushed to the wayside because there's just not enough people to do everything. But I hope with a massive further sounds and physics not falling. I mean, yeah. Definitely, like, it doesn't have to be like TSW level, because not everybody wants that in Train Simulator. Or, I mean, if you do, there are also other train simulators, you know, to get that experience, like Run 8. But I don't want to have to worry about breaking a knuckle, you know, or whatever in my train simulator, because I don't need it to be like real life. I have a job. I don't want this to feel like my job that I'm not getting paid for. To be fair, Jessica, they have gotten a lot better about that. Most unless it's a passenger scenario, you don't have a timetable anymore. You basically just lose points for speeding and train handling, and wheel slip and everything else. But there's no time. But yeah, I'd really like for them with TS 2023 to just do a massive sound upgrade. And I mean, I know that's not a simple thing because there's so many locomotives now that they'd have to update. You know, ones that are out of date. You know, and stuff that's like not on the Steam store anymore would need updating. So like if you wanted to update like every SD40 in the game, or every DTG made SD40 in the game, that would involve both Social Summits, Donner Pass. I don't think Sherman Hill, but quite possibly. The Norfolk Southern High Hood SD40-2 DLCs, both of them. The one for Pennsylvania Coal District and the super old one. The BNSF in Burlington Northern SD40-2s. I don't know, they may not bother updating the really old DLCs, so. Or anything that's not on the store anymore. But you'd need that. You'd need the Kuju ones. Yeah, I know that's, well, like I said, that's what really, but the fact that we're still using, you know, the default Kuju lights from 2009 is just so obnoxious. Yeah, fix the Dash 9, the SC70 case, the SC70 Volume 2. Yeah, that is annoying. Just like, I don't know why that's a thing. The fact that the rear headlights turn on with the front headlights. Put a better horn on the SC70M that comes with Sherman Hill. The loop is way too long and it's annoying as hell. Yeah. I do remember hearing on the Train Sim live stream that at one point DTG did go to Armstrong Powerhouse and propose contracting with them to get DLC sounds, but Armstrong Powerhouse wanted way too much money for them. I think enough that it would have required raising the price of DLC, which is already, to quote, which is already, as the kids say, too damn high. I thought the P-32 was a reworked P-42. Jessica, didn't the Empire Builder P-42 come out before the Metro North P-32? Or do I have that backwards? Ooh, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I've seen footage of the... Yeah, the P-42 horn is pretty bad. At least the Empire Builder one is the right color and not that weird teal that the frickin' Miami to West Palm Beach one is. No, it really doesn't. I mean, hell, you could slap the F-59 PHI horn on there and it would at least sound better. Still wouldn't be accurate, but it would sound better. Also, I swear the damn thing is so loud it, like, clips. Let's see, is the end of that train gonna make it out of the tunnel before we get into it? We're now entering the Nolan tunnels. Yeah, more realistic cars. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. Ugh. A lot of the more recent ones are better. I'm not going to say they're good, but they're better. Well, no, that's fair. No, for sure. Like these big clunky boxcars. Not these ones. Not these ones. Not that one. Those aren't boxcars. Those aren't boxcars. Stop speeding. Those aren't boxcars. There we go. These ones. These ones are way too big. Like, compare that with, like, these ones. Which aren't DTG. Well, that one is, but... Like, these are the ones that come with the the GP30. These are really nice. I really like these. If we shoot back over here, these should look more like these. Like the ones that come with Feather River Canyon are awesome. Those are so good. I love those ones. Why don't we have more like those? It's just... Or like the ones in... for the TSW Sherman Hill route. Those ones are really good. Why can't we have those? Look like a buster after eating 2 million Big Macs in a large coat. Yeah, pretty much. Like... They're just way too chunky. Like, they don't look right. They're too wide. The length is okay. Yeah, they're just... Yeah, they're too wide. They're a little too tall. Alright, I'm sick of seeing the stupid speeding thing flash at me. I've illustrated my point. Boxcar. Not a Scion. Like, imagine if they made the standard, like, British goods van, you know, for, like, Port Road. Imagine if that was, like, you know, like, it looked close enough, but, like, the proportions were just off enough to notice. See, that's the thing, though. They don't. Like, they fit in the loading gauge. But, like, they just feel off. It's kind of like an Uncanny Valley thing. Like, they're close enough without being right to be noticeable. Yeah. The regular gondola I don't have an issue with. The hoppers I don't have an issue with. The only thing I have an issue with is that the ones that came with this route shouldn't have been this style. They should have been closer to this. These, again, are the ones that come with the GP30. They're really good. That's closer to what this should have been. Or this should have been. But it's not a huge issue. I've expressed my distaste for branded tank cars before, but even then, the tank cars are also not quite right. They're good enough. The ones that Milepost did for Yellowhead Pass and Arizona Divide are better. I think the black ones are a little dark. But they're not bad. They're certainly an improvement. Bulkhead flats I don't have an issue with. A yellow one would be nice. That would be a little more accurate, but these TOC cars, the flat car itself is pretty good. No complaints there, but the trailers are too tall. If you look, Mariah's Pass is funny because the double stack cars are a combination of being too short, the actual containers, with the trailers being too tall. So the trailers and the containers are the same height, and they shouldn't be. The containers should be taller than the trailers when double stacked. Other than that, minor gripes. The auto rack is fine. I just like an open variant that'd be a little more accurate for scenarios in the 80s. Ones with the... And I'm talking about, like, these specific model are good, but, you know, in the 80s they had one where it was this car, but they didn't have the roof, so you could see the top level of cars. That's a minor gripe. It's not, you know, game-breaking. It'd just be kind of nice. On the flip side, for a more modern variant, I'd like to see the articulated ones. Those are cool. I've always liked those. Actually, let me dive into my archives. I should have a photo of that somewhere. Because I always snap a picture of those because I like them so much. Summer 2018, I was home. So, June. Nope. Nope. Oops. Yeah, more load varieties would be nice. Especially for flat cars, but also for well cars. You know, especially since now we have branded stuff in TSW, it'd be nice if we saw a little bit more of that in TS1. But I'd like to see some like aluminum ingots, some steel, some different steel loads you see. Sometimes you see girders, sometimes you see like sheet metal on flat cars, so that'd be cool to see. Definitely have one for Rochelle. You're gonna hear furious key tapping while I scroll through this. Hard to believe that trip was 2018. Gosh. Oh, here we go. It's an auto rack. Haha! That has to be the world's most pointless 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. Oh, I thought I closed that. Okay. There are COFC cars included with the Alaska Railroad. But other than that, I could use a little bit more. Let me... No, I don't want to capture my Spotify. I want to capture... Shit, I don't know what the hotkey is. Oh, Microsoft Photos. There we go. Hello? Why won't you capture... OBS. Oh, come on. Yeah, that'd be fun. You stupid. Man, I take photos of this crap for this specific purpose, and I can't even... There, that'll work. Nope. Alright, whatever. Switch it back to the game. There you go. Not catch a specific. There we go. We have game. Yeah, the world's most pointless 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. Just realized you can't actually see the HUD. Yeah, I'd like to see an actual scrap metal load. Not whatever the hell we have currently. I don't think the gondolas in this train are loaded. Nope. They look more like iron filings than they do than it does scrap metal. Yeah, aggregate, scrap metal, rebar, ingots again. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the problem, Code Monkey. Yeah. Wait, actually, I can at least show Chrome. Game capture. How about I don't have anything weird open on Chrome? Why can't I show Chrome? Any full screen application. Auto. No, I want you to capture. If I bring it up. Alright, fine. It's just not going to let me... If. Okay, I do actually want it to capture the cursor, though. Prawn Hub. Very funny, Jessica. Actually, I'm gonna open the Run 8 website anyway because... Oops, that's the wrong one. I accidentally opened the train simulations. Ooh, Conrail. EMD second generation pack. Oops, that refallen flag. Oh, wow. Let's see, 40 to see. Cool. That's a nice GP15. Anyway. Get distracted. Oh! That reminds me. Before I get into this. I did see on Reddit today, real-time trains for April Fools converted all of its unit reporting into Roman numerals. So the example I saw, instead of 385016, it was CCC L XXV XVI. I thought that was cute. Ooh, Dash 9 pack, huh? Those look really nice. Anyway. Transits. Da 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 da. Ooh, these are good looking hoppers too. Man, Run 8 stuff looks so good. I know what I'm looking for, I'm just getting distracted. I'm going to keep getting distracted. Yeah, so here we go. So, the Run 8 Gondola pack, the loads are steel coils, railroad ties, steel rebar, pipes, scrap, steel wire, scrap, railroad ties, and steel coils. So, you know, stuff like that. Did you now, Code Monkey? Oh, it's after midnight in the UK. I forgot. I had a real-time trains tab open. That's why I was. Yeah, I saw that, Jessica. I'm gonna be honest. I think everyone's making way too big a deal about it. I mean, yeah, he overreacted. But I mean, it was a hot-headed moment. And, you know, the fact that we're still talking about it 4 days after it happened. Driven up the M74 and seen a train on the WCML. It took us 45 minutes before I figured out what it was and where. I mean, she had to have an idea of, like, roughly where she was. Like, I I mean, I get her not being able to, you know, call out, oh yeah, it was an Avanti, you know, Pendolino. But you figure if I say, yeah, I was, you know, a half hour north of Preston, around, you know, 10 a.m. or whatever. I feel like that would make it easier to narrow down, but I could be wrong. How much farther we got to go? Lily. God, it's got 22 miles. Well, we're gonna cover half of that in the truck to Jill at least, so. Some serious throttle lag on these bad boys. Interesting. Oh, yeah, that's fair. But yeah, obviously, if she was driving, the miscount is understandable. Aha! I was gonna go into a story, but this is what I have an issue with. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Like, ostensibly, it might be scrap, but it's too flat. Like, it should be lumped. Like, the scrap loads that come in the gondolas for the B&O Mountain sub are really good. Because that actually looks like scrap. Anyway, because I'm definitely the person that will... yeah, there you go, shag carpet. Because I'm definitely the type of person that will be driving and see a train off to the side of the road and be like, ooh, what's that? And then, you know, totally forget that I'm supposed to be, like, paying attention to the road. which is how I got into my first and only car accident. It was a few years ago now, but I was driving. I was driving to the Route 59 metro station, which is on the racetrack, because I wanted to grab a shot of, I think it was the California Zephyr had an Amtrak Heritage unit on it that I wanted to catch. Because I think it was 130, which is the new Phase 2 unit. And so I was driving up the road to get to the station. And that road passes under the Canadian National Lythton subdivision, right at the north end of the siding that crosses the Aurora subdivision. And right before that bridge, there is an ice rink that doesn't have a dedicated turn lane on that road. You have to sit in the travel lane if you want to turn left. But almost nobody ever does that. So I saw the train and was processing the train and not the road in front of me. Upon which time, and so by the time I looked down and noticed that there was a stopped car in front of me, it was too late. So I smashed into the car that was behind the guy waiting to turn. So, that wasn't fun. That was a rather horrible experience. I ended up totaling my car. And I think it cost like $2,500 to fix the other guy's trunk and rear fender. So. Luckily, the guy I hit was, he wasn't a dick about it. He took it in stride. I apologized profusely. I was living with my parents at the time, and it was actually my mom's last day of work at her old job. And the accident occurred like right down the road from her office. But yeah. Yeah, that's good. It's never fun when you hit another vehicle. The one thing that came out of that was that my dad and my brother took to calling me Captain Crunch after that. Yeah, clumsy but not expensive is okay. And my brother took to photoshopping pictures of my face, trains, and the model of car I was driving onto Captain Crunch boxes and sending them to me. Uh, I still miss that car too. It was a good car. But I do really like the one I have now. So. It wasn't my car. It was my dad's car, but it was one of the cars I learned to drive in. Um, but I was still in college at the time. But it was going to be the car I got when I graduated from college. My parents were gonna give it to me. When I graduated college, because at that point it would have been like 10 years old. But it would have been a good first car, to have on my own in the world, which is essentially the one I have now. But, although it's newer. You mean like the surfliner type deal, Jessica, or you mean uh something else? Because we didn't ride Metro that often when I was a kid. Because we didn't go to downtown Chicago that often. But I remember when we did, we took the UP West line to Ogilvy Transportation Center, and then we would take the bus to the Shed Aquarium for the day, and then we take the train back out. Ah, okay. solo trip was at age 10. Went to surf landing in San Diego. That is pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't really... I drove a lot solo after I got my driver's license. Oh, wait, no. Actually, my first solo train trip was actually right after I got my driver's license. I took the California Zephyr from Naperville on the racetrack to Burlington, Iowa, to visit my grandparents. I was actually looking through my notes app a few weeks ago. And I found a bunch of notes from that trip. Oh, you lucky duck. Oh, yeah, here we go. Oh, yeah, seeing my first real-life concrete ties. Apparently, and this was in July of 2014. So this was almost 8 years ago now. Good God. I would have been 16 at the time. No. Yes. Yeah? Yeah. So yeah, seeing my, the air around my... I don't know why these aren't all one note, but the air around my seat apparently smelled slightly of onions. The crossings at Galva. I wonder what was so special about those. Oh, the crossing things at Galva. I wonder what that meant. See if Street View has any clue. August of 2013. Is that not recent enough? Or, I mean, that too old? Maybe that wasn't, let's see, there's only a couple of crossings over in Galva. I mean, there's pedestrian barricades. I can't imagine that's what that's about. Nice. The Kewaunee Water Tower, road and track work. I remember we got delayed a little bit by track work. What was so significant about the water tower in Kewaunee? See if I can see it on Street View. Freaking terrible. Street View. Okay, at least this one's from 2018. There we go. Okay, nothing super special about that. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, no. Buddha and the track work near it. That's fine. Oh, yes, that's right. The no smoking announcement the conductor made. We can smell it if you're smoking in the bathroom. I remember the conductor saying that. 6 minutes late to Princeton. KCS unit? Question mark? Tiny ass bathroom. goats, very excited, and horses earlier. So when can I recreate that journey in TS? When they make the Mendota subdivision for for TS. And the Autumnwa sub. I do have a video crossing the Mississippi River Bridge into Burlington. My favorites. All the way back to 2014. Oh, there we go. If I... Whoop. There. Yeah, so this is the CB&Q bridge across the Mississippi. Engineer name with help for privacy, kind of border but the looking for Deadhead to North End of service for this. I do remember one time I took the train from Kalamazoo. Dear NRGW 5398 East, this is Dispatch. Pull to the east crossovers at Summit so the crew can remove the helpers. Over. That's it. Oh no, it's not, but so that's cool. Must be a way to loop that bridge crossing if it weren't for the island. We passed a northbound UP manifest to SS70Ms of the first unit max radio folks. Yeah. Let me seize here. One time I took the train from Kalamazoo. I ended up in the rear locomotive coach. The rear locomotive coach. The rear coach on the train. Stupid. And took a bunch of video. Yeah. So that's one after we got on the Chicago line. I ended up standing there for almost the entire ride. I paid for his seat, right? I did pay for his seat, I just didn't use it. I think there still kind of is, Jessica, because there's, I don't remember what the symbol is. But it's the local that runs up to Guadalupe from LA. That still uses SD70s. It's got a few loads of coal on him. Still a train going to town, but possibly Avier more to Perth. 158. That would have been the Highland Main Line, right? I was recently going through Flickr, and there was a bunch of, there's a couple of people who upload regularly, who fan on the southern end of the Highland Main Line near Dunkeld. It's such a beautiful area. Yeah. Yeah, when I finally make it over the pond, I definitely want to go up to the Highlands. I believe it. I'd still like to have it because I think it'd be cool. You know, there's not a lot of single track mainline in the UK. Plus, I really want a ScotRail HST. But yeah, no, it definitely... I mean, there's no route can ever be done justice in TS. It just can't. But yeah, the Scottish Highlands, the Lake District. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, if I ever get a Chillicothe subdivision route, it's not gonna, um, it's not gonna be how I, you know, remember it, you know, between, visiting in my youth and, the few times, in the last few years I've fanned on it. It's just not gonna feel the same, but I still like to have it because it's, one of my favorite lines. I mean, it's the line I grew up on, or I first started rail fanning on. So it is very near and dear to me. Plus, I definitely want to bomb intermodal trains at 70 across the prairie. Like mountain railroading is fun and all, but getting 5 Gevos racked up to notch 8 and flying across the landscape, too fun. Or if I really get my wish and they do it in the Santa Fe era, getting a 5-pack of Dash 8s. Oh. Or Dash 8s and GP60s. Choice. But until then, actually, we should have a new US route coming out soon. Or not, well, at least being announced. Well, I guess we'd have the Larias Games one. If it came out third party, oh, of course. If it came out DTG, I would buy it. But no, I would love it if it was third party. I would love it if Virtual New Haven did it, or Milepost. I think those would both, either one of those would absolutely do it justice. Oh, who else would I really like to see do it if they were going to do it? I guess potentially the Rias Games, depending on how whatever route they're releasing turns out, if that ends up on Steam. Oh, I was meaning off Steam, more off Steam completely. Oh. I don't know. That's a tough one because it would be great to have it, but not being able to upload scenarios for it to Workshop would be a huge bummer. Because that's about the only thing that's keeping me from buying, like, Western Mainlines. Because I'd absolutely love to have Western Mainlines. But I can't do anything with it. In the way that I want to do it. Unless I was going to look into uploading, on another website. But I don't really want to mess with that either. So I guess it would depend, I guess is the answer. Because if it's just something put together on, like, RWA, not that you can't find good routes on RWA. Well, no, I take that back. I guess it would depend on... I'd have to, like, you know... more or less see somebody review it, or see, like, you know, somebody driving it on, like, YouTube or Twitch. Like, I'd have to see it first. Which, I mean, I guess is my philosophy anyway with routes, but... Right. And I mean, payware doesn't necessarily, you know, indicate the highest, you know, amount of quality. So... I'm sure, you know, it could be done. It could be done well. You know, just by... I mean, look at Bergen County. You know, that's on Workshop, and that's a fantastic route, you know. But that's been a labor of love for those guys for years now. And I mean, I certainly couldn't make it myself. I have absolutely no proficiency with the route editor. I don't have the patience to put together scenery. And I mean, that's a long route too, because what I would want is Chicago to Fort Madison, Iowa, which is like 230 miles. So I mean, it should absolutely only be done by people who know what they're doing. And that's not me. Scenario 1, Western Main Lines from Dithrak to Pennington and kind of broken so missing seats. Miles is already... Yeah, I do know Western Main Lines has a lot of issues with, like, broken signaling. But yeah, no, route editing is absolutely not something I have any interest in. But I will say, absolutely, if the Chillicothe subdivision ever comes to Steam, that's an insta-buy. Hands down, no question. Same with the Aurora sub, the Mendota sub, or the Chicago line. 3 of those, instant buy. I started blowing way too early for that. Let's see, what else would I immediately buy? I don't know. Can't think of anything right off the top of my head. It'd have to be something pretty famous. I'd know it when I saw it. Oops. No, there's really not. There's plenty that could still be done. Yeah, that was right. I don't know why that sounded so weird. Like, with, like, the Hanover subdivision. Not something I would have ever seen coming. It's not necessarily a favorite of mine. It's kind of limited in scope. But it is pretty cool. And it's absolutely a well-done route. So, obviously, hats off to Gary and, the team at High Iron that put that route together. And, as well as the Mountain Subdivision. It's another fantastic route. Sandpatch, I don't know that I'd instantly buy if it came to TS1. That'd be a hard sell. Jesus, could I have made that stupid target any smaller? Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Oh, the Geneva subdivision. That'd be another instant buy. Forgot about that. The Union Pacific Geneva subdivision. That would be an instant buy. Actually, it wasn't too bad. Good job. You can take a quick break while the helpers are removed. Scenario complete. Alright, so that was competition for the original Soldier Summit Provo to Helper route. And that's going to do it for this week. Everything you see on here can be found on Steam Workshop. Link is in the places. Make sure you like the Facebook. Sometimes I'll use that. YouTube, I didn't get around to fixing last week. We actually lost power last Saturday here, so that was kind of tough. So I need to hopefully work on that this weekend. I think that's it. It's all the usual stuff. Trains are back next week. And Oh. Never mind. Yeah, trains are back next week, and I will see you all then. So, thanks and bye.